locked in.
Look at what we have here, folks.
To the only show that matters.
The cream of the crop.
Duke loves wrestling.
And there is no one that does it better than
your host.
I have come here to chew bubblegum and kick ass.
The Duke.
And I'm all out of bubblegum.
Welcome back to Duke Loves Wrestling. I am the Duke, a.k.a. the man of the hour, the man with the power too sweet to be sour. And I'm joined by my illustrious co-host, the Boston bad boy. I'm Mike Pelosi.
I want you to change my intro. I want you to say, joined by my reluctant co-host, the Boston bad boy.
Why'd you take your pants off?
My balls was hot.
Jesus.
Why? Obviously. Was there another reason?
Was that not the funniest thing ever?
Man.
UFC.
I just, I'm not a huge UFC follower.
Yeah.
But that was funny.
Yeah, Derrick
that
Lewis.
Was entertaining.
Shout out to Lewis. He's the best promo in the game.
And you know, those guys. There's no script there. There's
no.
There's no real work going on.
Sure.
There's no. This is not professional wrestling where there's a setup.
Nothing like that.
He just was talking off the top of his probably concussed head.
Later on in the night, they asked him how he's going to celebrate. He said, "I'm going to have my wife's legs in the air." That was it.
I mean,
it.
What do you want him to say?
It was his wife.
His wife.
He didn't say some random woman.
No,
he said his wife.
He didn't say some bitches.
Yeah, no, didn't
he
say
said
that.
My wife.
My wife.
My wife.
But he called out Vladimir Putin. He did call out Putin. He said that Trump called him up. Folks, over the weekend, the
what
UFC
are the chances that Trump actually called him? It's in the realm of possibility.
If he didn't call him before, he certainly called him now. Because he said, what did he say? USA up in his hoe?
Yeah. He said
F Russia.
F Russia. We're gonna they're making Trump look bad in the news, so he asked me to mess him up.
Knock this Russian mother effer out. That's what he said. Wow. So everyone wants to talk about the Conor McGregor and Khabib fight, folks, but before that, Derrick Lewis, he knocked this dude out clean right before the match ended, too. It was unbelievable. And then he gave the greatest promo ever.
He said he got to do some more cardio.
Seriously. Yeah, he did.
Sit down and do some cardio.
That's right. He said, I'm going to sit my black ass down and do some cardio.
He did.
But now they got him in a championship match against Daniel Cormier, which, we're going to have Reed from PugilismCo to come on and discuss all of that UFC stuff. But that's going to be an interesting matchup there.
Yeah.
Boy, I'll tell you. Roman Reigns, you should take notes on how to cut a proper promo. You disgusting punk. Folks, we have Run the Ropes and a few other things that we're going to discuss. But before we get to any of that, Boston Bad Boy.
Yeah.
I would be remiss if I didn't ask you, what the hell is going on with Kanye West?
Boy, I was going to ask you the same thing.
You got well?
I don't know.
Because you're a Kanye West fan.
Well,
at least you
I
were.
wouldn't say a fan.
Yeah.
I would say from an anthropological standpoint, I'm interested in what's going on in this poor man's life.
Well, obviously a lot.
Where do you go? Where do you begin?
Well, you asked me. You were watching CNN earlier today.
Yeah, I was.
And April Ryan was
So Kanye takes over the West Wing. You see how that ties in?
Mm-hmm.
And he has his diatribe with Trump, who was looking very scared. And they cut back for an analysis. And they've got April Ryan, who's a White House pool correspondent. She's been there for forever. Very smart lady. Tough.
Very tough.
Seen it all.
Yeah.
And gone toe-to-toe with these lunatics.
That's right.
And the look on her face and her inability to sort of put together a coherent thought about what she had just witnessed in the White House, it was telling more than anything else.
You know what that is?
Please, tell me what that is. Because as much as I'm invited to the barbecue,
yes,
there are many aspects of the whole black culture that I don't understand. I think this this is hitting some people's nerves in ways they didn't expect it to.
No.
And in ways that the average white dope like myself wouldn't quite understand.
Well, as a host of a barbecue, right, I can tell you right now, Kanye is that family member who is a little off, especially when maybe they're not taking their medication.
Okay.
They're a little off, but you're rooting for them. You hope that they get themselves together because, when they have this stuff right, they're okay.
Right.
But when they don't have this stuff right, they're still invited to the barbecue, right. But you're like, oh.
You're sitting there, you having your potato saying, oh, Cousin Derrick.
Yeah, there.
What a sin.
There. Yep, you shake your head.
What a sin.
You shake your head.
What a sin.
And
God bless him.
we don't want to openly banish Kanye and just say, you know what, I'm through with him. Done. Because there's still part of us still rooting for him.
Well, it's also he's already done it to himself.
Well, true.
He's sort of exiling himself from the rest of the world.
Yep.
Black, white, or indifferent.
Yeah,
he's a man on an island. You really can't exile him because he's still going to get publicity because he's still famous.
But he's going to get publicity because he just finds new ways to sink lower.
Yeah. Sure.
Calling Trump his daddy today was pretty low.
That was.
I didn't grow up with a father in my household. And,
and then
Trump,
he started wandering into this thing. He says, my family, and he's referencing the Kardashians. And he said, there's not a lot of
male
influence there. And I'm like, is he going to make a Caitlyn Jenner joke?
Oh,
Where is this going?
He did. That's what it was. And then he started talking about these special airplanes, and let me show Trump a GIF. And if he doesn't look good, we don't look good.
I want to know, how is it possible that Kanye West is not yet a Scientologist?
That's a good point.
Ripe. He's ripe for it.
Yeah.
Tom Cruise is on an imaginary plane right now flying to meet Kanye West to try and get him into Scientology.
There are certain people
the amount of money Kanye has
don't want to touch. That's what it is.
The amount of money Kanye has that he could pour into that.
Sure.
Boy, I'm sorry. They're probably not all over him.
Well, the best part is they bring him in because Kanye's going to take care of prison reform. And literally within days of Trump saying, we're going to bring stop and frisk to Chicago. So we're gonna increase racial profiling.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. Illegal arrests.
We're gonna turn Chicago into what Manhattan was in 1973.
Exactly. But we're gonna do prison reform. So is the reform we're gonna put more black people in jail? Is that what the reform is?
Well, it's one thing to have Trump as the leader of the free world. It's another thing to have a man who recently dressed up as a Perrier bottle negotiating with and working on prison reform.
Good point. And
then to add just a beautiful poetic moment to the whole thing, when he brings up his phone. His code is 0000, by the way.
Yes.
He goes, and here's the jet, and he goes, Jared, take a moron Kushner, seated at the left hand of the president. He goes to him, another unqualified dope, who's somehow consulting on peace in the Middle East. So we've got this dope, peace in the Middle East. We got Kanye, who is probably an intelligent guy, probably very highly intelligent. Has some emotional problems, and it's all getting whacked out. But, maybe Kanye could have a valid thought on prison reform. I don't put that past him. Not in the state he's in.
No.
I think he's more qualified to talk about than Jared is.
Yeah.
And what's that saying? This guy had the president, arms folded, pinned at his desk for 15 minutes today.
Was Trump afraid?
Absolutely.
Terrified.
Terrified. You know why? Black man had control.
Yeah. And black man getting real close to him.
The last time a black man had that kind of control sitting at that desk, he was called Obama.
That's right.
And you know what? That bothered Trump top to bottom because he saw it.
So does Kanye not get invited back to the White House?
Absolutely not. They double down.
They double down. Yeah.
They use him.
Yeah.
Listen.
Give him a job.
All Kanye wants to talk about slavery was a choice and this and that. What's he doing to himself?
Yeah.
What's the choice he's making? He's being pimped.
Yeah. Well, he's calling Trump his daddy.
He's being pimped.
Yes.
He's being so pimped, he should be making a record with R. Kelly.
That's it.
That should be his next project.
Trump, Kanye's R. Kelly.
Yes.
That's what
exactly.
I'm telling you.
Exactly.
Yeah. Well, to Kanye, just want to say, man, wow.
Well, again, where is this man's family? I know listen, everyone says in my upbringing, my father, this and that. I didn't have a great upbringing. You didn't have a great upbringing. Nope. We're sitting here having a normal conversation. Listen, we're not asking Kanye to solve the free world. He's putting himself in that position.
Sure.
He makes music. He's an artist. Some of his stuff is far out, but whatever. That's what artists do. Stop blaming your past. And if you have family now, which he obviously does because they're all public figures, where are they? Where are they? Did they cash the checks and they're fine with it? Where are they? Who are these people? They are more rotten. They're the ones who should be cut out. They are rotten people. If they're letting this guy, father of their children, Kim Kardashian, in
front of the world,
father of your children, your husband, whatever, fall apart. Where was she today?
I don't know.
Why wasn't she with him?
Maybe she was.
No way.
She's been to the White House a few times.
There's no way she was there.
Well,
because we would have heard that she was there.
That's a good point.
We would have heard she was there. So has he just gone off the reservation and he's
I don't know
cut
if he
her
ever
out?
made it on the reservation. This guy's he's not even on this planet.
There's one other thought I have. Is it a work? Is this Andy Kaufman 2.0?
Nah. Nope. Not a chance.
Because think about it. what we witnessed today, let's distill it down, was brilliant in a way. That here's somebody who's essentially nobody. He's an artist. He's sitting, and it's playing right behind you. He's sitting in the Oval Office with 30 reporters. The President of the United States, given it's Trump, but the President of the United States, and just ran the show.
Yeah.
15 minutes.
He ran the show. He definitely ran the show.
It's almost like a prank. Like, hey, you know what? I wonder if I dare you to try and go in the Oval Office and run the show on live television with the president for 15 minutes.
How far can you go with this?
How far can you go with this?
Yeah.
And he goes, okay. And he just plays the conspiracy thing. I mean, think about it. It's the perfect work. Because Kanye, as a black man, they're dying for any kind of connection with the black community. And they're dying for an easy answer, being that this one prominent black person is our key to all the other black people, because all the other black people are the same.
They follow him.
Right. Exactly.
Kanye is the leader of the black community.
They picked the wrong fucking guy.
The mythical black community, Kanye West is the king of it.
He's the mythical king of it.
He's the Oz.
So he presents them with the perfect setup.
Sure.
It's the perfect punk because he's giving them everything they want, and then he just goes in and does what he wants to do. So if it came out that this was all like somebody's writing a book right now, like one of Kanye's, like the true story of what's going on, and it's certified, brilliant. I will give that man a standing ovation. You know, and that's my best hope, because the other alternative is just really sad.
We'll put up a poll. Do you think this is a work? Is Kanye West putting on a ruse here in order to embarrass the administration?
My breakfast with Kanye.
Yes. My breakfast with Kanye.
Right.
Yeah. Tuesdays with Maury, my breakfast with Kanye.
Exactly. So, I think that it's a very, I don't know.
Wow.
Somewhere Michael Jordan saying, you know what, this is why I don't get involved.
That's it. Run the ropes. It's time to run the ropes. It's when I go over the top stories in the world of professional wrestling. Let's go. John Cena has new hair. This was a big deal, Boston bad boy.
Oh, boy.
John
Hair club
Cena,
for men?
Yeah, well, he cut his hair in a way that it was amazing. He looked like that episode of The Simpsons when Homer got new hair. Everyone was he had to start making fun of himself because it was just so ridiculous. So that's, it's pretty sad when that's a top story.
Very funny thing, speaking of hair, I read the story of, remember Cy Sperling?
Oh, yes.
The Hair Club for Men?
Of course.
I'm not only the president, I'm also a client. So the story behind that is, so he was divorced, broke, had nothing. He had had thinning hair, and so he met a woman. They started dating, and she was a hairstylist, and they developed that system of how to. It's basically like a weave toupee thing.
Huh.
Very nice, and it was pretty high quality. So he decided to expand his empire, and he did those infomercials. So they had an infomercial that they did. That was like professional actors talking about whatever. They put it out there, and it got no response, right? They found a backup one that they had done with him hosting it. They kept, just in case of emergency, they run that one, and in that one he says, I'm not only the president, I'm also a client. Immediately got huge response.
Unreal.
He sold the company in like 2003 for $45 million, right?
Wow.
The company that he sold it to turned around and sold it 5 years later for $203 million.
Oh.
All because he figured out, he tapped into the insecurity of men. And he was smart because he said, hey,
I do it too. That's it.
Be genuine. Something that John Cena can't be.
Well,
that's the moral of this story.
John Cena, we want to know, is that a Hair Club for Men situation? Because we know you were balding pretty significantly in the rear of your head. And now suddenly you have this full head of hair.
Yeah.
What's really going on?
Yeah.
The world
deserves to know.
He could be taking some kind of something in China. Which
Rhino
is illegal
horn or
here.
something.
Yeah. Something
shark
to make
fin.
that hair blow up.
Put a little lead in the pencil.
That could, hey,
I mean,
know. And it grows your hair. That's it. Breaking news, NWA championship to be defended. That's right, Boston bad boy. You remember we had Jazz, former WWF women's champion, badass. She's the current NWA women's champion, which they hadn't been doing anything with her for a while.
Sure.
They have their 70th anniversary show coming up, and they just announced that Jazz is going to defend the NWA women's championship against Penelope Ford.
Interesting.
Which Jazz is going to kill her,
well,
by the way.
I mean,
she's literally going to beat the snot out of her. Yeah. You know, and it's interesting because Jazz was on this show,
This fair program.
and we reached out to the NWA,
Mhm.
and we said, "What are you doing?" You know what I mean?
You didn't do anything.
What are you doing? Well, I reached out
I
to
always
Billy
say
Corgan
Billy Corgan,
personally.
you're a douche.
No,
but,
I reached out to Billy Corgan personally, and I said, "You have Jazz. She's a fantastic champion. She's unbelievable. What are you doing?"
Mm.
And now suddenly they're featuring her in a prominent spot. So I want you, Boston Bad Boy, to acknowledge the fact that the Duke makes things happen.
Absolutely not.
That's no.
No, the Duke doesn't do anything, actually.
Duke makes things happen.
The Duke is a roadblock, if anything.
Oh,
Yeah, definitely a roadblock.
why are you being rude?
Well, just because you like to put yourself out there.
Yeah.
And Billy Corgan would never talk to you. I would never talk to him. So that's how it rolls.
You're so big that you won't talk to Billy Corgan?
Absolutely.
The Smashing Pumpkin? Huh?
I don't know if he can be the singular pumpkin. It's the Smashing Pumpkins is the name of the band.
No. He's the most smashing one of them all. Right?
Well, maybe he'll learn how to sing someday.
Breaking news, we have a heel turn.
You just said breaking news for the last one.
Yeah, but I'm breaking
So
all
also,
kinds
what are you,
of news.
CNN? It's just constant
Stay out of
breaking
this.
news?
Bobby Lashley
Okay.
turned heel at the same time that Kevin Owens turned babyface. On Raw. It was a double turn.
I don't like the double turn.
Double turn is pretty good. It's very difficult to pull off.
Well, it's also because it requires a little bit of thought.
It does.
And we know that our friends in the wrestling business don't usually put that kind of thought into
Well,
it.
these two guys, they pulled it off, and it was actually marvelous because Bobby Lashley's this hulking badass of a dude until he opens his mouth, and then when you hear him talk, everything
Doesn't
is just
work.
not believable.
Doesn't work.
It's like Mike Tyson. You don't believe him until you
Boy.
see him hit somebody.
Right.
Then it's like, oh, what do you do with that? Like if you were talking to Mike Tyson on the phone, and he was like, "Yeah, man, we're gonna have a match." You were like, "What? Oh, whoop you, whatever."
Right.
And then you see him, and it's like, "Oh, he's a big dude, but okay, whatever." And then
Is the voice
punches
from
you.
steroid use, by the way, with Tyson? Like,
No.
what was
Mike Tyson never used steroids.
No?
Never.
Well,
That
how do
was
you know?
all natural.
All right.
Because when his body, you saw as he got older and the way that it changed
Yeah.
changed naturally.
He didn't look suddenly deflated.
No. So that's how you can always tell. Some of these guys, it's like, okay, I know what's going on there, But Bobby Lashley, he's doing much better as a heel now, thank goodness, and it's fantastic. And Kevin Owens, he actually is going to get knee surgery. So they had to write him off the show for a little while. He might be out for up to 8 months.
Wow.
Pretty big deal. He's been nursing this knee injury for at least, the past 4 years. Can you imagine that? 4 years, your knee is messed up and you just keep going. It's pretty tough.
Well, it's only going to get worse. You'll be in a
that's-
wheelchair by the time
you got to
you're-
do something about that. Exactly. So anyway, shout out to Kevin Owens. Hope you get better there. And shout out to Bobby Lashley. It's about damn time. You're about to set the world on fire, and we can't wait to see it. Big news going on in Saudi Arabia, but not for good reason. Boston Bad Boy, I know you've seen this Washington Post reporter who was missing.
Mm-hmm.
And it looks like he was murdered and chopped up and all kinds of crazy stuff going on there. And the Saudis are allegedly responsible.
I think they are 100% responsible. Who's got the money and the ability to pull something off like that?
Yeah, and it looks like they did it. Here's the problem. WWE has this big contract with Saudi Arabia, and they have Crown Jewel coming up where they're going to go back over there and have this big event.
They should cancel it. And Trump should cancel his business ties with them because it's borderline treasonous.
Well, and everybody's at risk.
Well, first of all, as we've discussed it before, if this had happened during another political climate that we used to call America, there would be a military operation right now,
Sure.
a show of force to a country who decided to pluck somebody out of the blue, one of our citizens, and chop them into little pieces.
Yeah, that's unacceptable.
Especially a journalist. But when you have a regime here in this country where you can, you're talking about locking up and killing the press and locking them up, what's to be expected? So, yeah, the WWE for sure, for many reasons, and here's one more, to cancel these events in oppressive countries that do not. Why reward a country with an entertainment spectacle like none other that doesn't do anything to deserve it? That oppresses women and presses the free press, and again, considering that the WWE is mostly a media organization. Then again, if let's say Saudi Arabia hired the Iron Sheik to cut Vince McMahon's head off, I wouldn't be opposed to that.
Stop it right now.
So, I mean, there are pros and cons.
That's enough.
But what I want to say before we end this, what's going on here? Mark my words. They kill this. The Saudis kill this journalist. The Chinese hold the head of Interpol captive. The Russians doing military exercises, and that Ukraine is. Everybody's testing to see what's going to happen. And the more we do nothing, the worse it's going to get.
You've heard what I think. Now, what do you think? Do you agree with me? Do you think I'm a jerk? Maybe something in between? Head over to Facebook. Head over to Twitter. Type in Duke Loves Rasslin and let me know. I can't stand when you say yup. I don't agree with that. It's very, very rude. Up next, from PugilismCo, Sean Reed.
Somebody said something about fired up. This is Tommy Wildfire Rich coming to you live. You're listening to my man, Duke Loves Rasslin.
All right, so Reed, I'll tell you, man, it was a crazy weekend in combat sports. We had the highlight of the night was Conor McGregor versus Khabib, and let me tell you, first of all, how do you pronounce Khabib's last name? Because me and the Boston Bad Boy are trying to figure this out here, and I'm having a hard time personally.
It's Khabib Nurmagomedov.
That's what I said to you.
That's
I
not
said
what you said.
Nurmagomedov.
Bernie Madoff.
That's what I said. Khabib Bernie Madoff.
Yeah, sure. Well, whatever he is.
For the purposes of pronunciation, let's just roll with Khabib.
Khabib.
Yeah, okay,
that's I can deal with that. And listen, he is a bad dude, man. I mean, he's undefeated. He's young. He's hungry. Talk to us about, before we even get into the controversy of what happened after the fight, talk to us about the fight there, Reed. A guy who's a combat sport expert like yourself, what did you see leading up to it and during that fight?
So everything you've said about Khabib is on point. I mean, you have to be a badass to come to the ring with basically a marshmallow hat on your head. And Khabib did that, and he backs it up. He's like, I'm daring you to knock this marshmallow off my head. But him and Conor, they get in the cage. So we all knew the longer stay standing, the better for Conor. If Conor gets to the ground, it's a wrap. What surprised me was the ease with which Khabib took Conor down and kept Conor down. And the few times they stood up, like I think the biggest punch of the fight from standing was landed by Khabib, and he boxed Floyd Mayweather.
Ah.
Was that what you were referring to?
Yeah, no, I was just, usually I can talk to Duke in the headphones and our guests can't hear us, but I guess you can.
Oh, okay.
What
Sorry
kind of
about
magic
that.
trick did you just pull
Wow,
there,
what are you
Reed?
going, do you have a bug in the room?
Yeah, what's going on here?
Are you recording this call?
No, I don't. I'm not recording anything. I was like, yeah.
I was just trying to think of a follow up to what you're saying, which is, you know, if it's all over for him so easily and everyone's surprised, do you think it has something to do with the fact that he changed sports and then had to kind of go back into what he was doing and what he had been good at and was known for?
No. Here's the deal. So Conor himself is a badass. What I love his swag, but what I love most about Conor McGregor is his ambition. Any manager, any matchmaker, which was my former trade, is matchmaking, fistic matchmaking. Mm-hmm. Any matchmaker worth a grain of salt would not allow the biggest name in their particular sport to come back, having not been in the octagon for 2 years. Yeah, you had this boxing match against Floyd. That's not being in the octagon fighting a mixed martial artist. Hadn't done that in over 2 years. And you're fighting an undefeated younger dude who's probably the most dangerous man on earth if he gets you on the ground. So just from a matchmaking standpoint, it makes zero sense to me, but therein lies Conor McGregor's his MO. He's got balls. He'll walk it, and he'll at least try to talk it.
Mm-hmm.
So,
but yeah, Khabib, man, he took him down easily, kept him down easily, actually got the better of things when they stood up. I'm not sure Conor landed one clean left cross. That's his bread and butter. If Conor is Thor, his hammer is that left cross. I'm not sure he landed a flush one on Khabib all fight. And on the ground, it was what it was, and you could just slowly see. I don't want to say Conor's competitiveness was dipping, but you could see him getting more and more frustrated. And to be quite honest, that rear naked choke, it wasn't even sunk in that tight. It wasn't even sunk in as tight as it could have been, and Conor tapped anyway. It was hard to watch because, again, I love McGregor, but it was a one-sided fight, really.
And you know, Reed, I had asked you earlier in the day who was going to win the fight, and you said that it was going to be a tough match, but you were going with McGregor on that. Talk to us about that finish, though, because you brought it up there. You said rear naked choke, but he never got his arm around Conor's neck. It looked like it was more of a face vice sort of thing where he squeezed his face. Can you talk to us a little bit more about that finish?
It was in the process of becoming a rear naked choke.
Mm-hmm.
He, like you said, he didn't quite. He's supposed to get it up under the chin, and from that point, it's a wrap. I think in Conor's mind, he knew he was beaten, and he knew because of my history with this guy, even if I tap, he's probably not going to take it off right away. So at that point, your option is to pass out, unconscious, or to tap. Did you guys see the Holly Holm Misha Tate fight from years ago?
Oh yeah, yeah.
So Misha's got the choke on Holly, who refused to tap, and then she instinctively is throwing punches in the air.
Yep.
And then she eventually passed out unconscious.
That was tough to
Conor
see.
He didn't want that fate. Conor didn't want that fate.
That was tough to see. That reminds me of the old Tank Abbott matches where he would knock a guy so silly that the guy's hands and legs would still be up in the air while he's on the ground knocked out.
Right. So stiff.
Yeah, so stiff. It's crazy here. Now, Reed, even talk to us about what happened after the fight now, because that's what everybody seems to want to talk. People who don't have anything to do with MMA, with UFC, they all know about what happened after the fight. What's your take?
Here's my take on it. So it's a combative sport. It's combative sports. It's prize fighting. Yeah, professional fighters, they have to act professionally. No, I'm not condoning what Khabib did, jumping out of the cage to get it. Conor's jiu-jitsu coach, I believe. I'm not condoning Khabib's boys who jumped in and started whooping Conor even after Khabib had already whooped his ass. There's a cause and effect aspect to this. If we go way back, Conor's one of his closest training partners is a guy named Artem Lobov. So Artem and Khabib had a run-in before a UFC pay-per-view. And then everyone famously remembers seeing a video of Conor hurling a dolly or a barricade or something at a bus. Well, the people on the bus who drew the angst of Conor McGregor, those were Khabib and his people. Conor was defending his boy's name, threw what he threw at the bus, and then he got arrested. And that's how the fight brewed from all of that. So back to my point, these guys, they really do not like each other. A lot of times in combat sports, there'll be some manufactured beef. What do they call that? Soy meat. Well, this wasn't no faux meat product. This was real beef, USDA grade A beef.
Wow.
These guys would have fought for free off of TV. If they saw each other tomorrow, wherever they saw each other tomorrow, they would immediately fight. Like, this wasn't just for show. A lot of people think that is the case, and sometimes that is the case. But with Khabib and Conor, they really did not like each other. And going back to the professionalism, I mean, you want professional fighters to compose themselves in a certain way, but Conor had attacked Khabib's religion, attacked him as a man, his family, so it wasn't that easy for him to turn that off. 10 seconds after I just whooped your ass, I'm supposed to be a teddy bear all of a sudden. It wasn't that easy for Khabib to turn it off. I'm not condoning his actions again, but I can see both sides. And here's the thing, Duke. So Khabib's boys were arrested for jumping Conor afterwards, right? Conor didn't want to press charges. So to me, as long as no one else was hurt, in the altercation when Khabib jumped out, from my recollection, only Conor McGregor sustained any punishment. And he didn't want to press charges at all against Khabib's people. He charged it to the game, as we say in Texas. If you call some shit, if you start some shit with certain people, there's going to be a response. So Conor took it like a man, didn't press charges. I personally don't have a problem with it. I believe the UFC still has not paid Khabib. They're threatening to release one of the guys who jumped Conor, and Khabib actually put out a statement today saying that if they did indeed follow through and fired his boy, that he would leave the UFC himself.
That's right.
Well, Duke and I were talking earlier because unfortunately this is a wrestling podcast, and it kind of occurred to me, in this, and we know in boxing the hype game has always been huge, in UFC the hype game is huge. I mean, what percentage of this do you think is a bit of a work? And because what makes me ask that even more is because Vladimir Putin gets involved at one point in this story. How much of this do you think is juiced a little bit by the organization to kind of feed the flames of this and maybe, amp it up a little bit beyond where it maybe should be?
I don't think Dana White wants any part of this. When it was just the bus altercation, sure. He wanted to sell that. They even showed the video footage all throughout the promos building up Khabib and Conor. But this after the fact stuff, and now people are attacking Khabib from a nationalistic perspective, and they're talking about revoking his green card, his ability to compete in the U.S. Like, whoa. He's still the best fighter in the world at 155 pounds. He's still undefeated, and he just dominated the biggest name in combat sports. So wherever he goes, it better still be the UFC, but wherever he goes, the eyes will follow him. But back to your point, Mr. Bad Boy, I don't think Dana wants any parts of this, but of course you'll have political ties and whatnot, people affiliated with that looking for this as an opportunity to get some publicity. That's what it is.
We're talking to Sean Reed of PugilismCo, the Black Burt Sugar, as they call him out there. Switching
BBS.
That's right.
BBS.
Switching speeds here, Reed, because, that UFC card was stacked. And for my money, the best moment outside of that whole altercation and the main event fight there had to have been Lewis. Okay, we're talking about Derrick Lewis,
the Black Beast.
That's right. That's right. The Black Beast. He got a what some would call a surprise knockout. I wasn't surprised at all because I was watching the fight with my bodyguard, and I said, listen, all this man needs is one punch. That's what he's known for. So no matter how tired he is, all he needs is one punch. And sure enough, at the end of the match, he cleaned that boy's clock. Talk to us about Lewis and the fact that we have such a quick turnaround now where he's going to challenge for the heavyweight championship against Daniel Cormier.
Lewis is what he is. He's very entertaining to watch fight. He's ultra entertaining on the microphone. He's a big tough guy. I'm sure his background was probably in football or basketball. He was probably a good street fighter, successful street fighter. So he, tried his hand at mixed martial arts. Very little technical skill at all, by his own admission. In the post-fight interview, he even initially said he didn't deserve a title shot till he got his cardio right. But the fact that he went on to talk about how his balls was hot, he wanted to smoke weed on Joe Rogan's show. And I got your back, President Trump, USA in this whole, all of that conspired to make the video go viral. And now people just naturally want to see him fight Cormier. The truth of the matter is there really isn't anyone else at heavyweight right now. Brock Lesnar is still serving out his suspension. I don't know what's going on with Stipe Miocic. They probably don't want to put him back in with Cormier for fear that he would beat Cormier in a rematch. So Derrick Lewis is perfect. He's marketable. He didn't get beat up too bad in his last fight, and that one will sell. Plus, Cormier will beat him also. Cormier will beat Lewis.
Maybe we can get Elon Musk in there to throw. He smoked with Joe Rogan as well, so it seems to be a trend. Maybe we can get him in the ring.
Hey, you never know.
He might be looking for a new career.
To me, that's the tragedy of it all. So now, instead of getting to smoke weed with Joe Rogan, Black Beast got to get back in the octagon and fight.
I know. And
that's the tragedy of it all.
Who does this benefit, Reed? With what is it? It's less than a month away, this fight he's going to have with literally the world heavyweight champion and an Olympian in Daniel Cormier. Who has the advantage leading up to this fight now?
To me, Cormier clearly has. Even if both men had the same amount of rest time, I would favor Cormier. They're both built similarly, but Cormier is a fat guy that doesn't get tired. Plus, Cormier, world-class Olympic-level wrestler who has good stand-up himself. He could beat Lewis standing, and if he gets Lewis on the ground, he's going to maul him like a bear.
Yeah.
So it favors Cormier for sure. Here's the thing, Duke. It's all leading up to Jon Bones Jones versus Daniel Cormier 3 for the heavyweight championship. I'm betting this will happen next year. Usually the biggest UFC pay-per-view is in July. So I'm calling it now, July 2019, Cormier versus Jon Jones 3 for the heavyweight championship of the world.
Now, before Jon Jones can get to that fight, he's going to have to take on Gustafsson again, right?
Yeah, the rematch. So Bones, he dry snitched to USADA to get his drug suspension reduced. He's now snitching on all the, I guess, the drug outlets that are in MMA.
Wow.
So what looked to be a 4-year suspension got reduced to 18. So now he'll be able to fight Gustafsson on UFC 232 in December. He's a swell guy, ain't he, Duke?
Yeah, he's a piece of trash, that Jon Bones Jones. I can't stand him. He's a piece of trash.
So you left the scene of a accident when you ran your car into a pregnant lady because you were high and drunk, and
yeah.
You've been taking drugs the whole time, and now you're snitching on the people who only did what you wanted them to do in providing you performance-enhancing drugs. Yeah, he's a piece of work, my man.
His whole record should be suspended, that piece of trash, Jon Jones. And if Jon Jones, you listening, I'll tell you straight to your face. I'm very disappointed in you. I think you're the biggest disappointment in the history of combat sports. Simple as that. Simple as that.
Now, that said, this is a good time to quote the famous Nate Diaz, who says, everybody's on steroids.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah.
That's kind of how I feel about it. Everybody's on steroids.
Speaking of that, Cyborg versus Nunes. Who do you have in that fight? These two ladies who are literally the baddest women in the planet right now. Cyborg versus Nunes. Who do you have?
Yeah, Chris Cyborg, Amanda Nunes. So Cyborg's a little bigger. I believe she's the champ at 145, and Nunes is the champ at 135. 2 years ago, I would have said Cyborg handily. She's kind of started to show some signs of age in her last couple fights, but I don't know, man. These are two tough Brazilian women. This will be the best women's mixed martial arts fight ever, in my opinion. The safe pick is Cyborg, though. The safe pick is Cyborg. May the best man win.
I can tell you right now, I've been simulating this fight for a while now in UFC 2 on PlayStation 4.
Oh, God, get a life.
I always pick Nunes, by the way. And what I've noticed, this is my expert research here.
He's been doing it with his pants off, by the way, just so we get a full disclosure.
That's nobody's business.
Cyborg and Nunes, huh?
Yeah.
Okay.
So if
whatever floats your boat.
Yeah, he's a strange cat.
Stop that. If the fight goes beyond the first round, Nunes is going to win. And that's it. If Cyborg doesn't knock her out in the first round, Nunes has that fight hands down. She'll win by referee stoppage. She'll probably be a kick to knock down Cyborg and then ground and pound.
Her youth will be her advantage for sure, but they're both very strong, muscular. They both possess great deals of ferocity. They're both Brazilian, like I said, so it's you got to go with the more proven entity, at least initially. I would say maybe after 2 or 3 rounds, if Cyborg hasn't gotten her out of there, then I would agree with you. You have to tab Nunes to win.
Absolutely. Reed, before we let you go.
Do I have to ask you, are you in an actual wind tunnel or are you actual remnants of the hurricane?
That's my AC blowing. I'm sorry.
He's keeping it cool. Yeah, well, he's got to keep it cool because, this is a hot conversation.
Hot topics. Before we let you go, Reed, Kanye West, man, what is going on?
Oh, God.
We were talking about it earlier in the show, and I had to get your take on this.
Do we have to?
That might say it all.
I know.
Here's me, Duke. So I write. I'm a combative sports nerd. I write about it because I can't do it like they do it. I'm a nonviolent guy. I don't believe in violence outside of the cage or the ring. However, every now and then, certain people deserve to get the shit slapped out of them. Our current president is on that list.
Sure.
But he's second on that list to Kanye freaking West.
Wow. That's a big deal.
And there it is.
I would slap the shit out. If I could slap the shit out of both of them with no repercussions, I would slap Kanye first, guaranteed.
Wow.
I'd slap Kanye first, then I'd slap Trump, then I'd slap Kanye again.
Just for good measure. Reed, if fans want to read your stuff, what's the best way they can reach out?
They can reach me at Pugilism Company. That's PUGILISMCO.com. Look up Pugilism Company on YouTube. I'm the Blackbird Sugar. Read the Blackbird Sugar. Again, that's PugilismCo.com.
That's right.
And before I go, last thing, can we please fire Jason effing Garrett?
Oh, please.
You have 4th and 1. You're in Houston's territory.
Oh, God. Are we talking about
You have
Dallas
the best
right now?
line.
Please.
You have the best offensive line and the best running back in football. Get a damn yard, coach.
He's an embarrassment. But you know what? It's indicative of the ownership. The fish is definitely rotten from the head down. There's no two ways about it.
And to bring it full circle, gentlemen, my favorite meme of the week,
Mm-hmm.
it was based on Khabib choking out Conor, except it had Jerry Jones in Khabib's place, and it had Jason Garrett in Conor's place getting choked out.
His name is Reed from PugilismCo. Thanks for joining us, brother.
Anytime, fellas, anytime.
This is former WWE superstar Al Snow and magician to the blind. You're listening to Duke Loves Rasslin.
All right, Boston bad boy. First of all, shout out to the late great Dusty Rhodes. It's his birthday.
Yes, I saw your post.
You know, the
today.
American Dream. It's pretty cool. Happy birthday, Dusty. Boston bad boy.
Yes.
I got into a little thing.
Oh, what now?
A little thing on.
You're not borrowing any more money from me.
Well, you know, this is a big deal here. And next week these guys are going to be in town, so you know I might need your help.
Oh, you're coming to me for a favor?
Yeah, exactly right.
You coming to me for a favor?
Xavier Woods,
Okay.
of the New Day,
Sure.
WWE World Tag Team Champions on SmackDown,
Mm-hmm.
and Kofi Kingston, who was one of his partners.
Okay.
They had the audacity to put out in the universe here
Mm-hmm.
that Batman is not a superhero.
What is wrong with these people?
This is a big story here, right?
Mhm.
So I took it upon myself to defend the honor of DC Comics, Batman, and the whole universe here,
Okay.
DC Universe. And I said, of course he's a superhero.
Yeah.
And that culminated into a literally 2-day debate.
You said you mean to tell me you were in a Twitter debate with two actual wrestlers who are famous.
Mhm.
You, a nobody.
For the whole world, I'm everybody. That's why
You,
I
a
debated.
nobody,
Wait a second.
engaged with these
No,
guys.
Because I'm who I am, the Duke. That's why they engage.
You know what? If you were really you would have had them on the show tonight as a guest to discuss it.
I
'Cause that's
challenged them.
content.
I challenged them. They're going to be in town next week, and I challenged them.
I hope they just beat you up.
Well, I challenged them to I said, any superhero video game you want, I'll be Batman. You be whoever you want. And when I win, you admit that Batman's a superhero.
I think if you look at superhero video games, I don't know that Batman's had the best ones.
That's okay. I'll still win. I have to do this for our honor. Okay? But what I want to know from you, I got to make sure you're not a card-carrying member of the Turncoat Society of America. I need to know from you right now, is Batman a superhero or is he not a superhero?
Not only is Batman a superhero, he is the greatest superhero. By far eclipsing Superman, Green Lantern, any of the Marvel superheroes. Because what Batman has is pathos. And pathos makes him a superhero that you can actually relate to.
You see that? You see?
Because let's look at the definition of super,
Let's.
shall we?
Please do.
Of the highest degree, power, etc.
Mm-hmm.
I think we can agree that Batman is trained to the highest degree.
Yes.
His intellect is to the highest degree.
The highest degree.
His finances are to the highest degree. His moral code is to the highest degree. Or to an extreme or excessive degree. Dressing like a bat, extreme.
Very extreme.
First rate, excellent. Was the third definition down on the adjective scale here. First rate. Leader of the Justice League. Many times when Superman couldn't be bothered.
Nope.
Has single-handedly defeated superhuman and supernatural elements of other villains and also superheroes.
Look at that. Preach.
So to not call him super shows a super backwards intellect.
You see what happened there? Come on.
It's
Come on,
like,
Pastor. Come on, Pastor.
It's like what I'm trying to tell you is it's bizarro, is what it is.
That's what I said.
You're living in the bizarro world if you believe that. You have no idea what you're talking about.
No idea. No idea.
You need to tear up the contract, get out of here, and get out of my life.
That's it. That's it.
Okay?
New Day, I'm very disappointed in all of you. Batman is a superhero. You're jealous. Kofi Kingston, I can't stand your face.
You know
right
why?
now.
Here's the thing.
Uh-oh.
Because Superman isn't even a man.
He's not a man.
Okay?
He's not a man.
Batman is a man.
He is a man.
He's not a bat.
Yeah.
He has the persona of a bat.
That's right.
So I'll give you that. But he is a man.
He's a man.
Superman is only super because he doesn't live on his own home planet.
He doesn't even have superpowers.
He doesn't.
That's what they have
the
up there.
superpower
Yes.
is a byproduct of him living here.
Oh.
That's it.
You see what
The
just
yellow
happened
sun.
there? You see what just happened there?
The gravity, the whole 9 yards.
Wow.
Okay?
Wow.
Because what happens when Superman is around kryptonite? It just eliminates his power. It makes him normal.
Batman doesn't have that.
Batman doesn't have the luxury of accidental powers. He's got to use his brain and his brawn.
That's right.
Okay?
That's right.
He's going to make it happen with what he's got.
That's right. Which
And he
makes
does.
him the greatest.
The greatest.
The superhero of all superheroes.
That's right.
That's right.
And also, he's the only superhero who doesn't wear a disguise.
That's right.
Bruce Wayne is the persona. Batman is the man.
You see that? That's very profound.
So there's so many levels to this that any other superhero's idiotic background completely falls away. Completely. Now, I know Lavelle's out there twisting a handkerchief, weeping because he's going to disagree with me. There's some obscure superhero. Someone's going to try and talk to me about Black Panther. I get it. I don't want to know. All those people have byproducts of external sources.
Not Batman.
Not Batman.
That's
He
right.
created everything he needed.
That's right.
He wasn't. He didn't take a magic herb. He didn't get exposed to gamma radiation.
He didn't get bitten by
a radioactive spider.
Yes. See?
He wasn't born with some genetic mutation that somehow would make you turn into ice. Ridiculous. Because Batman is a plausible superhero, he is a superhero.
So Xavier Woods, Kofi Kingston, just understand, you've lost.
Because you know why they've lost? Because it's very rare when I agree with you. And I wouldn't do it unless it was true.
Just, all right, don't ruin this.
So
Don't ruin
I
this.
just want them to know
Don't ruin this.
that they're wrong and they
Okay.
can take it as fact, Jack.
Yeah.
Because if I'm agreeing with you, I must be in the right.
Give me a break.
This is Tony Schiavone, and we're desperately out of time on Duke Loves Wrestling.